Are reaching out to ABC 23 tonight with concerns of potential mold in their apartments. Johnstown officials say they are aware of the residents' complaints, and reporter Brock Owens has been digging into this story today, talking to residents of the community and hearing from the Housing Authority. He joins us live now with more. Brock?
Some Oakhurst residents say they're sure they have mold in their apartment and it could be dangerous, while others are saying they have not had that experience. After hearing from several Oakhurst community members that reached out to us, we reached out to the Johnstown Housing Authority about the situation. Executive Director Michael Alberts says in a statement, quote, "We take all reports of hazards in the home very seriously and have dedicated staff to quickly remediate items that need addressed." Alberts goes on to say the Department of Housing and Urban Development has been made aware of the concerns at Oakhurst, and they will follow up and provide guidance as needed. But Dominique Ingram is a resident of Oakhurst and says she believes mold could have played a role in her daughter's death. She says her daughter, Helena, died when she was a few months old, and according to the death certificate, the cause of death is viral pneumonia. According to the Department of Health in Illinois, it is uncommon for mold to cause pneumonia, but it can happen in people with weakened immune systems. However, mold is a fungus, not a virus. But Ingram says she believes the alleged mold played a role.
For 7 days, I watched my baby go in and out of it because I thought I didn't properly clean my home. As a mother, I can't just sit idle and not say nothing. Not just for not my baby, but other babies, other families.
Ingram says she brought Bio1 of Johnstown into her apartment about a month ago and says they found mold spores in her bathroom and her daughter's bedroom. Bio1 tells me they cannot confirm that for confidentiality reasons. Reporting, I'm Brock Owens.
I've never seen mold this much all my life.
Say goodbye to Cynthia Gray's shoes.
Oh, jeez.
There.
Cynthia gave us a tour of the home she, her daughter, and her granddaughter rented in June. A month and a half later, they fled, leaving everything behind.
I didn't know mold could go on a television.
It's hard to say how much can be salvaged. Mold is growing on her granddaughter's bed, her baby bouncer, and now we move to the master bedroom.
Look at that.
Where you can see unidentified particles floating around the room.
Look where the mold is. Look. Every night I come in the bed, I would itch.
Cynthia says this horror story could have been avoided. She says that days after they moved in, the previous tenant showed up to warn them about the house and its landlord, Main Street Renewal.
Someone knock at the door and say, "You don't know us, and I'm not begging anything or anything. I saw you guys moving, and I just want you to know that I was living here. Me and my husband get sick. I lose all my stuff."
I wanted to find out if the person that lived in that home was renting from MS Renewal, because they needed to know the truth about what could potentially happen to them, what could happen to their belongings.
Stacy Kayam is the previous tenant who showed us pictures of mold growing when she lived there. She also showed us a Main Street representative's response. I see that the images you sent show your personal belongings being damaged by organic growth. I do apologize for everything that got damaged by this. Stacy wasn't just scared for the new tenants.
I was terrified because when she opened that door and I saw that they had moved all of their furniture in, their living room set, their dining room set, I was like, I knew what was going to happen.
They told me that they sent 2 vendors and there was no organic growth found in the house.
Delicia Davis, Cynthia's daughter, could have screamed. Here's the email she received from a Main Street Renewal resolution specialist who said relocation wasn't necessary because the tests came up with no organic growth. Main Street Renewal is huge. Its parent company owns billions of dollars in rental properties across the U.S. What's wrong with that?
You don't talk to the same person twice, oddly. It's always somebody else and say, well, we put in a ticket.
To prove there was mold, Cynthia and her daughter hired 2 different mold specialists to sample every room. We asked J.D. Ortega, the owner of No Mold Atlanta, to analyze the numbers.
What you can see here is that the outside Penicillium aspergillus, the raw count was like 194. But in this particular house, when you compare it to the inside, which was the master bedroom, it was 3,327. That is an astronomically higher number than the outside.
Ortega says at 55% humidity, mold will grow in just 3 days. The humidity level in the family room was 78%.
At that level, that means that it's growing, it's releasing spores, it's releasing mycotoxins. At that level, you can get very sick from that.
So they moved on June 2nd, complained on July 7th, but it wasn't until August 4th that Main Street Renewal moved the family to a hotel. On October 3rd, Main Street acknowledged that the house needed remediation. They offered the family several options, including a chance to transfer to another property or an early termination.
This is us.
They canceled the lease, and this time they bought a house.
We finally got our own home after being in Main Street Renewal's mold-infested house. So my daughter is having fun in her room. She's loving her room. And despite the fact that she doesn't have her bed, her TV that you guys saw is full of mold.
So, what about their stuff? It's still at the house. But after we told Main Street Renewal about our investigation, Delicia said they called her and offered $7,500. Delicia and her mom say that amount is less than half of what they've lost.
Now is probably a good time for us to leave.
A spokesperson says Main Street Renewal is working closely with the family and that residents are at the center of everything we do. We strive to ensure that all of our properties are safe for our residents and issues reported are promptly investigated.
Here's the takeaway. If you are going to rent a home, you've got to do a pre-move-in inspection, and you have to get the landlord to address your concerns in writing. And here's something you may not know about mold. Experts say it doesn't really die. If there's no moisture, it will dry out, but if you add a little humidity, it will come right back. It has to be professionally remediated and removed. I'm Better Call Harry, Atlanta News First.
I wish that they would kind of come up and bring the dehumidifier and just know that we are coming to them because there is a problem.
4 in Your Corner exposing a growing problem at a student apartment complex near FGCU. Yesterday, we showed you how some students are living with a mold problem at the Reef Apartments.
Now, just to clarify, this is not an on-campus housing complex. It's private off-campus. And since we aired our initial report on this, some other students living at the Reef have contacted us saying the mold's growing in their rooms too. So we're going to stay on the story and keep pushing for answers.
4 in Your Corner's Carl Fortier giving us an idea of just how bad this problem seems to be getting and taking people's concerns straight to the corporate owners.
Gina Orazetti says she's disgusted by the mold she's found growing in her Reef apartment unit.
My roommate had some on her sneakers. My other roommate had some under her desk. I have some under my nightstand.
Gina has reason to be concerned. She has asthma.
I have had colds. I've been to the doctor. They said it wasn't anything, and I'm obviously still coughing, and it's still an issue. And so I have reason to believe it is this mold.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, mold can cause all kinds of respiratory problems like coughing and throat irritation. Reef resident Gabriela Polano says she had to go to the hospital last week for a persistent sore throat, which she blames on mold.
I couldn't breathe. I was in bed. I was really weak. And I went to the doctors and they said I probably just had the flu, but now I'm not so sure.
When she posted about the mold on Facebook this week, she heard from others who say they have similar problems. While I was able to visit Gabriela's apartment at the Reef Tuesday, today a security guard turned me away at the gate. So I reached out to Asset Plus, the Houston-based company that owns the Reef, to see what they're going to do about the mold. A representative emailed me saying he got my voicemail and would look into the matter. I'm still waiting to hear back. And while they did have a company install a dehumidifier in Gabriela's apartment, Gina says she's still waiting to see what happens at her place.
They said we're supposed to be expecting a mold expert come out today, and they said that the guy never even came, so nothing today.
In Estero, Carl Fortier, Fox 4, in your corner.
Don't you worry, Carl is going to keep following up with the management company until he hears back and until we find out what they plan to do, if anything, for these students who are complaining about this mold. If you're affected by this or you have another situation you want 4 in your corner to investigate and get you answers, all you have to do is call or text us 239-206-FOX4 or email news@fox4now.